Over a year ago, I did a video that I titled The Most Beautiful Adventure I've Ever Seen. And in that video, I talk about how I sometimes fall in love with adventures the same way as I fell in love with my girlfriend. By first thinking she's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, and then actually getting to know her and falling deeply in love with her. And although I have yet to review my girlfriend, I mean the module called Lore of Aetherra, which is on its way to me right now as we speak, they are already building a second one. Let's look into it. And this is it, Lore of Aetherra Dark Symmetry, a 5e science fantasy campaign setting and adventure saga for Alchemy RPG. Now, if you do not know what Alchemy RPG is basically a virtual environment which is not trying to be, I'm trying to make sense of this, but it's not trying to be a virtual tabletop. It is a virtual tabletop type of thing, but it's not trying to like emulate the tabletop by moving your creatures around and everything. What this is, it tries to be like a really cool environment with like sounds and voiceovers and music and as you can see, artwork that kind of like moves and everything for you to play the modules in that are actually built for this Alchemy RPG thing. I have used this in the past for a couple of games and it is really beautiful. It is more of like a desktop environment than it is really trying to be a tabletop, and it's really worth checking out. Just make an account and just check it out for yourself. Join their Discord. It's really cool. It's just the atmosphere of it is really cool, and that is why I really like Lore of Aetherra. Like I said in my intro, I have yet to review the first one. It is being sent to me as we speak. I did a video on it last year, and I had to create it, release it, and everything. So it's coming to my doorstep. I live in Belgium, so it takes a little bit longer sometimes for stuff to reach me, but I will absolutely 100% review that one and also review this one because it looks so beautiful. What I want to do in this video quickly is first go over the Kickstarter page like always, and then look into the PDF they have up for downloads for free if you want to check it out for yourself. So you do not need to pledge this for it to become a reality. They already got some stretch goals going and everything, so they are doing good, but with 14 days more to go, there is a lot that can be added to that and it can be more awesome. But other than that, yeah, just look at this. There's a few reasons why I really like this. First of all, it's science fantasy that if I look into PDF later, I will it will be more obvious, but it kind of reminds me of this like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and Treasure Island and maybe even some Futurama, if that even makes sense. That's what it kind of reminds me of in like a D&D setting, and they're using the 5e rules, 5th edition rules, in order to make it all work. So let's just quickly glance over what you get. So you get Lore of Aetherra, Dark Symmetry, which has new rules for crafting, 100 pages of setting, 200 pages of adventure, animated scenes. Yes, they have like these pictures that kind of like move and are animated. It's really cool for in this Alchemy RPG setting where the players can really see this move. And then there's a 2-hour original soundtrack, so you can play that under your session while you're explaining, while you're setting the scene. There's a soundtrack playing, and if you use Alchemy RPG, everything is where it needs to be, and all feels like just a really good desktop environment to get all that going. 4 new subclasses. Pre-made player characters, magic items, NPCs, and monsters. So just what we expect from a good setting book with an adventure, right? By the way, I'm also going to do a video on the Alchemy RPG thing itself, so I'm going to go deeper into that in a later video just to show you what you can do with it, right? So yeah. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, right? So this one is really about a city kind of that lives under the sea, which is really cool, and I will get into that in the PDF. But there's also hand-inked vinyl records you can buy, but also of course there's the MP3 because everybody uses MP3. There is the Alchemy game thing that you can put in there. You can play in Alchemy, and this one is just something that I want to talk about really quickly. I have never liked special editions, limited editions of D&D books from Wizards of the Coast. I'm just gonna go out there and say it. There's maybe like 1 or 2 that I kind of like, but all the others I really hate. There's just a bunch of crap smacked together, that's my opinion, and it just becomes like this Picasso thing. It's really cool to collect, and it's just not my thing. For me, a special edition really screams less is more. That's always what I find. Like a good example for that is Corpus Malicious, for example, from Dream Realm Storytellers. This is just a leather-bound book with like the logo in front of it. Like it feels that it has depth, like, right? So this is a limited edition for me. And what I'm seeing right here is one of the most beautiful limited editions I've ever seen. Just look at this. Just the simplicity of this, yet there is so much detail in here. The lines are here. There's so much going on in here. There's so much effort put into this artwork, but still, it screams simplicity. It isn't simple. I mean, I couldn't do it, but it screams simplicity. It has this black cover. I really, really love this. There's dice. All of that stuff is in here. So we get this setting. Fathoms below the surface of the Azure Lake surrounding Fano lies the magnificent underwater city of Chrysalia, a kingdom founded with the singular goal of pushing the bounds of scientific progress regardless of the costs. So there is an audio tour, which is really cool. I'm gonna play this. I don't know if you can hear this.
Welcome, visitors, young and old.
So yeah. So there is an audio tour that now that you can play, basically, that has this voice. You are in a monorail type of thing. That's how you are introduced in the setting, and you are on this monorail type of thing where you are going over the city, and there is this voice coming through the speakers who is just like explaining what you see and everything, kind of like when you're in Disneyland or whatever theme park you go to. There is, look at this art. These are like the animated stuff they're talking about. All of this is just like, it's not static art. It's really, it just moves. It barely moves, but it moves, which makes it really come to life. I absolutely love this. So you can download the free PDF. Going to do that in a bit. There is also, gain new and flexible powers. Tap into the alchemical and magical qualities of the world around you to assemble, create, and improve all new and unique items that you can use, take apart, and remake. Use materials tied to each of the 4 elements to create objects that are magically mundane or dangerous. Create a cozier home from light sources and reinforced glass, or craft a cloak made of suggestible leaves. Okay, so here are a bunch of magic items you can create, which are on cards, basically, with on one end the artwork, which also really cool. And yeah, there's a new crafting system, and people really tend to like crafting. I am not like into the crafting thing in D&D, but people really seem to like that. And then there is an adventure, of course. So we have the setting, and then we have the adventure. The mother tree is dying, and with it all hope for survival in the underwater city. Beneath a thin veneer of civility and decorum lies a civilization obsessed with technological progress, racing to find an answer before that hope is snuffed out. And this is the PDF called Nova Rail, an unbeatable view of the underwater city. And that is what it functions to do. It really gives the players an idea of the underwater city this campaign is going to be set in. And it uses that with a clever mechanic and a clever way to get the players using this monorail around the city to really view the city from above. But it also has like this mini adventure and some combat even tied into it, which is really cool. And the artwork, yeah, look at the artwork. Really feels like that, I don't know, again, 20,000 Leagues Under Sea, Treasure Pirate kind of stuff, Treasure Island kind of stuff. So what it does is it actually has 3 sections. The first one being the players are in a kind of a sub-city, like outside of the city, in this other little town that's being overrun by pollution. There's this main thing, it's called pollution, and it's just taking over this village or whatever, and there is this abandoned train station, monorail, whatever they call it, station. And the players want to take that monorail in order to go to the big city, right? And there is this elf they meet. And when they go into this old monorail, there's these circuit boards that are overrun by all kinds of like plants and pollution and oil and whatever, and everything is dirty and old and disgusting. And they meet this really cool character. My computer is super slow. Who is an elf who's trying to fix the car that the players arrive, and they're just like under the thing, and they're like, hand me a tool, and the players need to hand her a tool, and there's actually an entire system for them to hand her the right tool. If they hand her the wrong tool, they need to like figure out which tool she needs, because she just names a tool, but then there's like a bunch of tools in the toolbox, and the players don't even, like the characters don't even know what that tool is called and which tool is what. So they just need to like guess or ask what tool she actually needs, and she actually fixed the card, and that's when it starts moving, and it goes over this really cool city. And it has a voiceover. Like I said in a previous part of this video, they have a voiceover that you can play that comes through the speakers, which is pre-recorded some years in the past, and it comes through the speakers and just gives you like an overview of the city while you're moving over the city. So you as a dungeon master can really like do this really quickly, like fix up the card, do this introduction with the voiceover, or have your players really stand in this card, introduce themselves to this elf character, really have this role-playing start of a campaign type moment, and really just set the tone of this beautiful city with the music that comes with it, because there is like there's like a bunch of soundtracks that come with it, voiceovers that come with it, so you can really play into, and they go over like all the areas, all of the important places that are important for later in the adventure and in the setting book that you are eventually backing. If you back this Kickstarter, there's all kinds of like important places that come back, so they already introduced the players into that, which is, I think, is really beautifully made. And really smart way of getting this. So there's 3 parts to this. The first part is going over the city. Second part is like discovering what's what and a bunch of the lore, and there is they even talk about like play, like for example right here, play voiceover number 8 or read. So you can choose as a dungeon master to read this part out loud, or to have the voiceover, the pre-recorded voiceover, read it out loud to your players, which is like a thing that's returning for a lot of Kickstarters. I see a lot of Kickstarters, new books really going into that voiceover territory. For me personally, I like the characters, like the NPCs have voiceovers. I like this radio thing that comes in, have like to play that. I like soundtracks, like these things you can play in the background. Really love that. I love doing that myself for my sessions. I have the Bluetooth speaker with just some sounds, some battle music or seafaring music or whatever. A thing that I don't really use is have somebody else read this out loud for my players, and the reason for that is that I never exactly read what is in here. I never do that. I just read this for myself, and then I set the scene myself the way I want to set it, so I can also adjust it a little bit for my party. But that's just me, right? That's the way I play D&D. Everybody plays D&D the way they want. I just think it breaks it kind of breaks a fourth wall if you have like another person read this out loud, because I feel my players want to hear this from me. The NPCs voiceovers and the others are really cool to have if you're the kind of person that isn't good at doing voices, for example, but I'm ridiculously good at doing voices, so yeah, I'm just gonna do that myself. So I'm not gonna go and explain this entire module and what it is. Basically, in the 3rd act, they get like the monorail breaks down again, and everything goes down, and pollution keeps coming back in this cabin, because when it breaks down, there's this air purifier that also breaks down if there's no power, and this monster basically attacks the cabin, attacks the monorail, which is looks really dangerous. It's of course a statted out, challenge rated 5 creature, which I have to say, for a challenge rated 5 creature, this looks way more dangerous. So yeah, that is the PDF they're giving. It's freaking 36 pages thick. People are really outdoing themselves with these free PDFs. I really love that they're doing that. And I think it's really well worth to at least, my computer is super slow, at least check this out for yourself. The link is in the description below. And until next video, bye-bye. Oh, there it is.